for a rock and metal update! Intense, huh? What's going on, vinyl community and those watching on YouTube? It's LJ, and it absolutely amazes me how fast 10 days can go flying by. You haven't made a video, you haven't checked in, and you haven't shared with everybody the stuff that you've been listening to. Now's the time, let's get it done. Let's start at the very beginning, my new love affair. This is White Wizzard. This is from 2010. It's called Over the Top, and it's on Earring. This is an import pressing. Somebody roll the clocks back here. Wyatt Anderson's vocals are just over the top. Pure, perfect heavy metal. Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, got together, had a baby, they called it White Wizzard. And it would be, you know, if you dug Killer's era Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, somewhere right in between those two albums, and Screaming for Vengeance era Priest, it's the best comparison I can come up with. This was the first full length from the new lineup. I believe it was only the singer, Wyatt, that remained from the first EP they made before this. This has been so easy to just spin and spin and spin and spin. It took a little while to track down a copy domestically. I'm not sure if there's more available now or not. There may be a few more starting to get out there. But it's definitely not one to miss. I mean, if you dig your 80s heavy metal, this is a new wave of traditional heavy metal masterpiece. I am in love, and White Wizzard is the name. Absolutely phenomenal album. I cannot wrestle this off the turntable for more than long enough to just spin one other album. Check it out. Another killer recent find. Still working with a guy that's cool as pie here to me in the backwoods of Massachusetts. Still thinning out his collection while I'm bulking up for the winter. And this was one of those grabs. The next few are actually. And this is Dirty Looks, Cool from the Wire. San Francisco, right by way of Pennsylvania. So local hometown boys down in PA. This absolutely blew me away. I did not remember this album. I hadn't heard it in a long time. And it's, you know, it's the very first thing that jumps to mind. Bon Scott era AC/DC. Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. If you took that, threw it in a blender with Cinderella, Long Cold Winter, or anything that came after that, that bluesy hair metal edge, bluesy rock edge, mix it right in there with that period of AC/DC. Oh, what an album. This is one that spun and spun and spun and spun. The only thing I wished was that my turntable would automatically flip it over and play it again, because the only flaw with this album is it ends too short. Outstanding. It's another killer pickup from that same collection. This is Hawk's only self-titled album. It's from 1986 on Metal Method Records. The one thing I love about this straight away is that drummer Matt Sorum would later go on to join another one of those small bands, Los Angeles, Appetite for Destruction, Use Your Illusion, Lies. It escapes me. You can leave it in the comments. Guns and something or other, whatever. The guy that, yeah, that guy. Anyways, so Matt Sorum, this was his band before he joined Guns N' Roses. They had another drummer, Scott Travis, I think it was, and he'd go on to join Judas Priest. So this is kind of the band that just gives birth to drummer after drummer. Like I said, it's a one-and-done album. Killer vocals, they remind me very much of Dio, Scorpions, those type of vocals. Just a straightforward, killer, heavy metal album from 1986. Phenomenal artwork. I mean, seriously, if you love heavy metal, how can you see that and not want to get right into it? Absolutely fantastic album. Here we go. Malice, License to Kill. This is on Atlantic. This is just solid, powerful, shredding, heavy metal at its 80s finest. LA heavy metal. Did I say that? This Malice for me always reminded me a lot of, you know, Dawkins. If you're familiar with Dawkins, I'm a huge Dawkins head, but Dawkins' first album, Breaking the Chains, was pretty heavy. And then Tooth and Nail kind of continued in that same vein. And then they would go on with Under Lock and Key, which really slowed it down a bit. It got more melodic. Had they stayed on that heavy path from the first two albums, they would have sounded a lot like Malice. And so to that, I mean, Malice almost borrowed from that sound. Same period. So Dawkins released Dream Warriors the same year. Back for the Attack the same year. Malice, License to Kill. I love both albums, but Malice is just the heavier of the two. Outstanding shredding leads. Not a single thing wrong with this album. If you're a headbanger in his mid to late 30s, early 40s, this is the perfect Saturday night, date night, right here in your own record room. Killer album. You want to go out with me? Here's one I have to say a big thank you for. Who doesn't know or recognize that album cover? That album cover in 1984 is one that you would just sit and stare at in your room. You would, because it separated itself from everything else at the time. The blacks, the blues, the reds, and then here's this sunshine yellow cover. And who is this guy screaming at the top of his lungs? It's King Diamond. And King Diamond, again, bear in mind, 1984, no solo material yet. Mercyful Fate's Don't Break the Oath, their second full-length album behind Melissa, this was some seriously extreme shit at the time. It's a phenomenal album. There is never-ending talent around every corner. I will long stand by anybody that first drops the needle on any Mercyful Fate or King Diamond album and says, I love it, is full of it. You have to warm up to King Diamond. But the talent, Hank Sherman and Michael Denner on lead guitar, unbelievable. Timmy Hansen on bass, the bass lines are so solid on this. But why do I need to say thank you for an album that needs no introduction? Because vinyl community member 1204 Willow Maggie sent me a gift card for Soundstage Direct for my birthday, which was awesome. I had my eye on 2 albums at Soundstage, and this was one of them. It's the recent reissue on colored vinyl of Mercyful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. This is an album that turning up in mint condition, let alone brand new, is just about impossible. And Maggie's gift card helped me make the decision to check out the cart with this in it. It was limited to 1,500 copies. They actually reissued this and the first album, Melissa. I believe this one just came out, just got released last week. And it just got here a couple of days ago, which really pushed me to film this update. It sounds amazing, beautiful.
I mean wretched, evil.
It's awesome. It needs no introduction. It's in any self-respecting headbangers collection. And Maggie, thank you so much. It's phenomenal. Here's one we can fly through pretty quick. Southern Rock, Black Oak, Arkansas, Balls of Fire. I'm a big Black Oak fan. I have just about everything they've released. This one, yeah, it's kind of like an 8-cylinder truck firing on 5, maybe 6. It's not bad. Jim Dandy's "Come here, vocals they can wear on you a little bit. It's like, are you trying to seduce me, Jim, or am I trying to listen to this thing? There's a cover of Ramblin' Gamblin' Man on here you'd recognize from Bob Seger. That kills it. The cover of Great Balls of Fire, kind of weird. Some weird wind and sound effects on the album that don't belong there, and it half works, it half doesn't. It's a cool listen. It was a $1 pickup, and it was a hole in the Black Oak collection. So here it is. Now here's one that I picked up probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, after seeing vinyl community member Punk Texas. What's going on, John? Picked this up, and this is Mariah. This is on United Artists. This is something that I may well have skipped over in the wild had I seen it. Being on UA, the butterfly, pictures on the back, it might not have done it for me. Punk Texas picked it up, dropped the needle, that was it was done, and the hunt was on. So this has been here for the better part of a couple of years now. I've really only just seriously set the needle down on it, spun it 2 or 3 times and paid attention to it. What an album. I mean, seriously, amazing. Here's the label. It's on UA. And these guys, they're from, I wrote it down, Chicago. Okay, so you think Boston, think Foghat, think Legs Diamond, think Killer Production, and Frank Sullivan down here. Frank Sullivan, I didn't even realize at the time, that's the same Frank Sullivan that would leave Mariah and form Survivor. So Mariah, rightfully, sounds a bit like Survivor, but definitely heavier and harder. And what was cool about this, and I showed it when I got it, is it came with a bio. So this was some type of, not a promo copy, it's not a white label or gold stamp, but likely passed out to radio stations. So here's the bio, and here's the 8x10 glossy of the band that came with the album. I had no idea when I bought this that these were in it. When I pulled the record out to clean it, these came out with it. It's just a cool couple extra pieces. So Punk Texas, thank you for turning me on to Mariah. Highly recommend anyone else check it out. Want to see something funny? You ready? Nothing funny about that. Led Zeppelin. It's not one of the fancy, pricey new reissues. I haven't picked one of those up yet. To be honest with you, I'm really not sure I'm going to. It's a pretty good reason for that. You know, kind of just is what it is. Really not sure I need one. But, here's the deal. Take a look. You tell me. Somebody leave me a comment about that one, okay? 2 left. Here's one that's been on the list for a long time to pick up, and this is Quiet Riot's self-titled. They already had a self-titled album in Japan 10 years before this. This is from 1988. So Kevin Dubrow is gone from the band at this point, so enter Paul Shortino from Rough Cut on vocals, and Sean McNabb, who would later play bass for Dawkins. I showed their newest album, Broken Bones, in my last metal update. Sean McNabb is on that with Dawkins. But at this point, he's here with Quiet Riot. So what is this? It's alright. You know, there's lots of... It's something I wanted on vinyl for a long time. I didn't remember it very well. I'm pretty sure I have the cassette. It just, without Dubrow around, it just loses that Quiet Riot attitude. That dirty, condition-critical, metal hell edge. They just had an edge. And if you don't realize that, when you listen to this, you will right away. Even Quiet Riot 3, I would argue, is an outstanding album. But this one, without Dubrow, loses that edge, which kind of turns it into just anonymous 80s cock rock. Kind of is what it is, melodic hard rock. It's not bad. It's just not great. I'm super happy to finally have it in the collection. It doesn't turn up too often. Just not outstanding. Here is a slight upgrade of a copy of an album that I already had. This is the Rod's Wild Dogs. This is from 1982 on Arista. You know, if you get in the same sandbox with Anvil or Crocus from the very early 80s, right in that same sandbox, you've got the Rods. I mean, seriously, does the cover not say enough? This is a band that Greeno in the vinyl community turned me on to, and as soon as he did, I just could not devour enough. I now have them all, and this remains one of my absolute favorites. I had picked a copy of this up from Greeno a while back. Again, this one is just a slight upgrade. Still an absolutely amazing album, one that you should definitely grab. Just snag it the second you see it, if you do. This is their 3rd full-length album. They're a New York-based band. You know, Riot, also. Those first couple Riot... Oh, man. You throw down either one of the first couple Riot albums, the Rod's Wild Dog, Anvil's Metal on Metal, or Paid in Metal, the first couple, and anything right around the time from Crocus, you just have yourself a day. There it is. Just grab yourself a beer. That is an early 80s hard rockin' day. There's the Rod's Wild Dogs. I'm just going to let you dwell on that cover. So I say thanks a bunch for watching. Feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Later, y'all.